Yes, day 5 of Eagles training camp, full pads for the first time. We heard from Vic Fangio and a lot more information on what's going on due to injuries and how the competition is going. There's a lot to go over here, so let's get straight into it.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Hope everyone is doing well. I cannot talk today. Now, we have to go over Eagles training camp day 5. This was a very hot day. We've had 2 really hot days, and it looks like they did move the practice up from, I think, 10 o'clock to 9 o'clock because of the heat. So they got out of practice a little bit earlier than usual. But we did have a Vic Fangio press conference, and obviously some of the injuries that the Eagles have had. So if you look at the injury report right now, will not practice. You had Zach Baum with a back contusion, no big deal there. Danny Gray with the finger injury. Andrew Makuba out the second day with his shoulder. No update on when he's coming back or a timetable, but hopefully, it won't be too long. Devontae Smith will be out another day with back tightness. Kind of been dealing with this since last year, but I think that's just precautionary. Nolan Smith had a concussion the other day, which I didn't know about that. It looks like defensive end Joshua UCHE took his spot at camp. We'll talk about that later. And then obviously for your limited, you have Jahad Campbell with the shoulder, Jalen Carter with the shoulder, Jalen Carter's second day back, and Cam Jurgens with the back. Small Munden still out with an illness. He must be really sick right now. So hopefully he'll be back in hopefully another couple of days. Now we're here to talk about Vic Fangio's press conference. A lot of information has come out of this, and I think the number one thing to really talk about here, the hot topic of Eagles camp has been the cornerback spot, where Fangio did talk about Kelee Ringo, did talk about Adoree Jackson and what's going on with the entire situation, but did talk about Kelee Ringo for one thing and saying that he's been fine. Like I said, too early to tell right now. Ringo actually started at right cornerback for the 5th day, where Adoree Jackson literally took over the last 3 days at camp. Now, one of the beat writers asked a question to Vic Fangio regarding Adoree Jackson. Then, do you think that he has a chance to really make some noise and, be a big piece to this defense? Now, he pretty much said, I don't know if I think it's the place. I think it's time for him to show that. In Tennessee, when it comes time to re-sign him after his contract was up, they didn't. The Giants, his contract was up. They didn't. It's time to show who he is or who he isn't. The first few days out there, he was kind of like he didn't know he was out there. The ball wasn't going his way at all. And then yesterday, he had a couple balls thrown his way, and he did very well. He had a very good day yesterday. It's too early to say what his experience is or isn't right now. He's played good bit of ball, but I think this is the place where he's got to show who he is and be the player, hopefully, that people have always thought he could be. And I guess that makes sense in a lot of ways. I mean, he can't get to a second contract with a team. I mean, it definitely shows you, or can get to that second contract after arriving to a team. It really starts to show that, maybe he has fallen off and maybe he hasn't been the player that everyone wants him to be. But in Eagles past, I mean, James Bradbury gave up over 800 yards with the New York Giants before he came here in 22, and look what he turned into, at least for that 1 year. So anything could really happen at this point. Him not getting thrown the ball too much towards his way, and then when it finally happens, then you start to see if Adoree Jackson really hold his own. I've always wanted to know if the Eagles really value Adoree Jackson as just a safety blanket to come in for a game or two, or do they actually think that he can actually start if Ringo just can't pan out during this offseason program? I think we're just going to get the same answer from Vic Fangio, and it's a very truthful answer that these guys just need more time. And you just got the full pads the first day. You haven't hit joint practices against another jersey yet, and you haven't even hit these preseason games. So I think there's definitely a tall order, that Vic Fangio really needs to stay patient for specific positions that are in competition right now. And I can't really wait to see how this thing's unfold. Time will tell if the Eagles need to hit the open market for a specific player, if they're going after Asante Samuel Jr., or if they like everything that's in the building right now, don't know. But when it comes to Ringo, Adoree Jackson, there's really nothing behind that. We know that Cooper DeJean is not going to touch this position. It will never happen. You may see Cooper DeJean practice with some of the outside corners, but he will never, ever be in that spot until we see him at that spot in training camp. It's never going to happen. He's got way too much value to put him just as an outside corner, and it's just going to weaken so much more when it comes to the inside coverage. I really liked his answer here on Adoree Jackson. I mean, this is a 29-year-old player. This isn't a player for the future. I mean, we're really pushing for Ringo to win this job. And if it's going to take another 4 to 5 weeks, which it probably will take, with more practice and obviously more reps, you know, you're hoping to see some results. And if Adoree Jackson is just giving us a little bit of results right now, then I'm okay with it. And Ringo, if he says he's fine, then I'm okay with it. On top of the cornerback position with a lot of competition, he did talk about safety between Andrew Makuba and Sidney Brown. And really talking about Makuba's situation with this injury, he says that there's no replacing physical reps. And there isn't. You're not playing. You have no value. I don't care if you're sitting on the sideline or you're sitting during camp, you're around the safety guys during, you know, some of these drills or whatnot, and you're getting all the mental reps he can get, but he needs to play. He needs to be active. He needs to be on the field. There's another position where now you're relying everything on Sidney Brown. And, you know, Fangio says that Sidney Brown is quote unquote getting better. Coming off of 23, going to 24, I mean, what do you have? The ACL injury. He was coming off of a big injury that year, and he didn't get many reps in Vic Fangio's defense. When he went in for a couple plays, he missed some tackles. Everybody was kind of freaking out about it. You know, he doesn't play enough safety, and he runs downfield like he's on kickoff or punt or whatever. He's been a great special teamer for us, and I think he's more of an in-box safety. You know, I think he'd be a nice backup for Reed Blankenship, but to be a starter on back-end coverage, I don't know if he's really proved himself yet that he can really cover on the back end too well. So, like I said, more time with Sidney Brown, really his first year under Vic Fangio's scheme 100%, and coming into an offseason program 100% healthy, you know, that's a good start for Sidney Brown. We just need to see where the road really takes us. And then Vic Fangio talked about Jihad Campbell playing inside, outside linebacker, being the green dot at times. I mean, guy can rush, guy can play downhill. I mean, he made some crazy plays at camp today. I mean, they threw a ball to Saquon Barkley on the flat, made a tackle today, and then there was one pass to Dallas Goedert, middle of the field. Jihad Campbell comes right in, slaps Dallas Goedert, decleats him off right into the ground. Dallas Goedert actually held on to the ball. Huge hit. Jihad Campbell actually hit him. Didn't realize he was going to do that much damage to him. Didn't really know his own strength. But Jihad Campbell, from what Vic Fangio is saying, is really making these strong strides, little stride by strides to, you know, kind of be himself, and is turning into what the Eagles might think he's going to become. And Vic Fangio said it's really close. He might turn to what they really wanted him to be. You know, we didn't know if he was going to be practicing by mid-August, and he showed up that first day. Him practicing that first day was a lifesaver for this linebacker core, and it's been amazing ever since. So Jihad Campbell we're really starting to see it, and it's getting there. Yeah, Trotter Jr. as well making plays. Trotter Jr. is having one of the most strongest camps. I mean, realistically, a pass break up to Dallas Goedert in the end zone today. I mean, the last few days, he has been very, very productive in this camp and being the green dot. And you need a third linebacker prepared and ready. If it's not Zach Bond, if it's not Jihad Campbell, you got to have a third one ready since Nakobe Dean is not around, just in case you do have that injury. And just say you want to move Trotter to the green dot. Maybe you need to put Bond somewhere else, or you need to throw somebody else somewhere else. Jihad Campbell at the edge, and maybe use two more linebackers. There's so many different combinations because of the versatility that you have. And the linebacker core is, I got to say, we would never say this in a lot of years, is one of the strongest positions we've had in a long time. Small Monday needs to come back from obviously being sick, whatever he's dealing with. Not his fault, and I think he'll be set and ready to go. Trotter Jr., though, is making a strong impact. Now, Fangio talked about Jordan Davis as well, obviously losing all the 20 pounds, the 20-something pounds that he lost. He's down to 330 from like 350-something now. I think the one issue that Fangio is having that he's trying to get Jordan Davis to be better at is getting a lot lower, especially since you're sinking down in weight right now. And, got to get lower, have that leverage to have a better pass rush. Okay, there was one thing where he was 350, 360 pounds where he could just sit in the hole and not get pushed back, and really opens a lot more up for the linebackers, opens more up for Jalen Carter to play downhill and do some different things. But now he's going to have some maneuverability now where he can actually move guys off the line, and he'll be in better shape. He'll have a better motor on him. He'll probably play a lot more snaps. The snap count is definitely going to go up for Jordan Davis, when last year, middle of the season, he was losing a lot of that because the pass rush just wasn't there. And he really didn't hit that stride until the end of the year. Really, since he hit the playoffs, he's been absolutely amazing. This is going to be a big year for Jordan Davis. Just got to get lower, just got to get that leverage. And he's been pretty good at camp. Now, Fangio is talking about the edge rushers, especially the competition there. Now, we know that Nolan Smith is going to be a good player. We know that Alex Hunt should have a pretty big year this year. But he said that nothing is really surfaced, good or bad, when it comes to this edge rushing competition. And if he says it like that, that means it's too early. That means we haven't seen enough yet. It's nice. Saw Azeez Ojulari make some plays the other day. Now, today, Joshua UCHE made a couple plays, okay? So Nolan Smith had the concussion, so he had a lot more snaps today. He actually knocked the ball out from Jalen Hurts' hand, which caused the fumble, got the pressure on him, which is great. And then he had a sack against Tanner McKee on second team, so he was pretty productive today. So nice to see that some of these other edge rushers, a lot of guys on one-year deals, a lot of guys going to their prime, being on the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champions, to really get their next contract. And even Lane Johnson said during minicamp a while back, watch out for Joshua UCHE. He was double-digit sacks a couple years ago with the Patriots, and then he was traded mid-season to the Kansas City Chiefs last year. Only played in 6 games, but because of Spags' defense and how intricate it was to learn a defense middle of the year, and that's really hard for any player. So Spags pretty much said on an interview that, there just wasn't enough for him to learn, so they kind of just sat him out as a healthy scratch most of the rest of the year. He didn't play in the Super Bowl or anything like that against the Eagles. So you have a legit edge rusher there, and I need to see more. And I think UCHE will be the next edge rusher coming into this rotation as a new player, is going to produce a lot. And maybe you're surprised, maybe you're not, but it's going to be big production from Joshua UCHE. Fangio talked about Mac McWilliams, okay? Now, Mac McWilliams is a very versatile player that can play inside, outside. He's getting a lot more reps right now because Makuba is out. So in dime package, he's playing inside with Cooper DeJean, which is awesome, getting more opportunities. But, he says he's football savvy. Fangio's like football savvy type guy, plays really tough. And let me tell you, he stopped, Johnny Wilson, 6'7". Okay, and he's like 5'10", and, he's going up. Johnny Wilson's going for a pass in the end zone on, I think, day 4 of Eagles training camp. He goes up and slaps it right out. He plays tough. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder, and I think this is the player that is going to ultimately tell the Eagles if they're moving Cooper DeJean to safety or moving him all over the field in general. I think it's really all up to Mac McWilliams. I think Fangio is really preying on this player to produce for the movement of machine to be that Swiss Army knife. And I think that's the way it's going right now. Now, we're going to be talking wide receivers, and one player that's really making huge strides right now in training camp is Elijah Cooks. I don't know. He made a touchdown back of the end zone yet again today. He's been the most productive, probably depth receiver we have, especially with Terrace Marshall Jr. But Elijah Cooks, I don't know what's going on, but I want to see more of him. I want to see him against a different jersey. I want to see him in these preseason games. So nice to see that a nobody is really starting to get his name out there to maybe make a roster spot, maybe make some noise for the depth part of this receiver core. But near the end of practice or the middle of practice, it looks like Terrace Marshall did get hurt with a leg injury. I know he was on the ground. He got up, and he was able to walk by himself, which is good. Got to the sideline, went back on the ground, was checked by the medical, but checked by the trainers and things like that. Terrace Marshall just can't get out of his own way, man. The 2024 season was, I think, the only season he was healthy. He's been hurt every single year. And the only reason why he was healthy in 24 with the Raiders on that one-year deal was because he wasn't a full-time starter. So you go into this camp now, and Terrace Marshall was starting to turn some heads. A.J. Brown says he's making the receiver core, the depth at receiver, very uncomfortable because of how much work he's putting in and finally being healthy. Now he's got this leg injury, and we don't know how long he's going to be out for. So hopefully not long, because I really want to see Terrace Marshall down the stretch of this offseason program to see if he can really make a roster. Maybe the Eagles will get a lot of his skill set out of him on a healthy year, but now barred with another injury. I wonder if they're going to be done with him, if this is a long-term type thing. And, you know, we'll see what happens and we'll see where it goes. Well, other than that, that's pretty much it. So it's the first day of Eagles training camp in full pads, and Fangio had a lot of information for us. Let me know what you guys think was the most interesting thing about Vic Fangio's press conference. What are you worried about the most in Eagles training camp? What position are you kind of looking at as the #1 problem right now? You guys let me know in the comment section below. I appreciate everybody checking out the video today. If you last this long, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. And definitely hit the like button because it helps out tremendously. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you guys on the next one. Shakes what up, follows live. Peace out, guys. Peace.